We got some bridge to talk about today. I made a little tweet after stream because Cheryl Dija's been sending out emails like it's her job. So, I did make a post yesterday with part of one of the new emails. They were announcing stuff about their retreat in May, once again. And, they announced a bunch of the companies that were going to be attending. And, of all people, I was surprised, Robby Starbuck responded to my tweet. He said he would be reaching out to some of the companies on the list. And he also privately thanked me for doing stuff with bridge information. So hopefully he'll get some response from his contacts. Hopefully they'll say something. I don't know if they'll pull out, but if they do, the bridge meeting next week should be interesting, honestly. Who the fuck is this fox woman who keeps bothering me? Says Robby Starbuck. Fucking probably, honestly. Oh no, they're on to you. Better keep that guy at arm's length. I mean, once again, like, I've been screeching into the void. I've given him a lot of information on bridge. I'm glad that he's going to take it seriously and reach out to these companies and be like, hey, why are you involved in this thing that is basically DEI on steroids, right? Like, I will give credit where credit is due. Influencers are being paid big money by large soda companies to keep food stamps paying for soft drinks. How does that make sense? I refuse to take a dime from them. I don't want my tax dollars funding obesity, as taxpayers already spend hundreds of billions every year paying for diseases which are preventable. People can pay for soda out of their own pockets. Worse, I haven't seen a single one of these influencers disclose they're being paid to come out against the Snap soda ban. Oh, well, does he have, like, any examples? Because, like, this doesn't surprise me, once again, because, like, from Bridge, we know that they want to have streamers be pushing the message. But, like, who is paying, and who is also, like, coming out against it? You haven't seen this around, but yeah, it doesn't surprise you? Yeah, I would like more information. And, Robby's tweet isn't... Here we go. I was gonna say, his tweet was the first reply, probably because I follow him on my main account. Influencers should not take any money for this. Food stamps are paid for with our tax dollars. It's not right that it's used to pay for unhealthy food that creates medical issues that taxpayers are also expected to foot the bill for. You can buy unhealthy food on your dime. Well, I mean, I agree. I agree with that. Why Coca-Cola wants their SNAP money. SNAP households spend 5% of their benefits on soft drinks. It's approximately $5.6 billion on soft drinks nationwide. That is an insane amount of money. That is insane. Been offered $1,500 for a single post in the past for lobbying efforts. Declined each one. See, my question is, right? If it's somebody... I'm just gonna use, like, Hassan as an example. I don't know if this is his belief. I don't know if he cares about this shit. I'm just using it as an example. If Hassan already was like, yeah, this is a good thing. I think that we should prevent the Snap ban from happening, the Snap soda ban. And then someone approached him and was like, you already have this opinion. Can we pay you to keep having this opinion? Is that still bad? Is that still bad if you already have the opinion and someone then pays you? Or is it only, like, is it only bad if somebody pays you and you, like, promote an opinion that's not yours? Actual dietitians on social media are advocating for it? Not as bad, theoretically. I think a bunch of you are saying yes. Get that bag! You're compelled to keep the opinion. Well, it's like, you can always change your opinion later if more information comes out. But it's like, I don't know. Hypothetically, no, but it also depends on the position. It's weird to get paid for an opinion. I mean, I agree. It's kind of a weird thing to get paid for. You aren't allowed to change your mind. It's like, you already took the money, right? If more information comes out and you change your mind later, unless you're under some sort of weird contract. I hypocrite is screenshots of Ian advocating to remove soda from Snap before being paid and then posting the shill slip. Ian, like, Smosh Ian? Because that's the only Ian I know the name of. If someone sees you take money, they can point to it as proof that you're disingenuous, even if it's an honest opinion. I mean, I guess that's fair. Oh, Chong, okay. I was like, what? Coke is a part of apartheid or whatever, so he's not allowed by his audience to like Coke. I mean, again, I was just using his name as an example. The problem with that is this: you can just make a secret deal to state the opinion before they pay you officially. It would be too much of a loophole. Well, it's like... What's one of my opinions that I could potentially get paid for? What's an opinion I have? Let's say that the United States government was going to ban FUTA pornography because it was warping men's minds and creating impotent men. And you guys know that I am vehemently against FUTA. If a Republican senator approached me and they were like, Kirsche, you're an anime thing. FUTA is an anime thing. You already have the opinion that FUTA is degenerate. Could we pay you to make a post about how you agree with the FUTA ban? Would that be bad for me to take that payment? Not my FUTA. Because it's like, everybody already knows that is an established, like, opinion that I have. Nobody could point to me and be like, she's taking the money, she didn't have that opinion. And if they did, you guys would have a copious amount of clips to post at them and be like, shut up, retard. Right? Like, do you think in that case, no? You'd be consistent in your position? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, if it's somebody who has a track record of holding that opinion, right? Like, if the AOC was a streamer instead of a politician, right? Like something more in her IQ bracket. If she was a streamer and she was like, we need to open the borders, and then like Nancy Pelosi went to her and they were like, dear Alexandria, our favorite Fortnite streamer, will you make a post about how we need to keep open borders? Like that, she has a track record of having that opinion, right? So like, would it be bad if they got paid to then further promote an opinion they already held? I guess is my question. If FUTA is the same regard as traps, make of that what you will. Oh my god, problem comes when you suddenly change your opinion? Yes, I agree. I agree. Like, if I suddenly made a post and I was like, hey guys, I'm actually against the SB 1769 banning FUTA in the United States, right? Like, if I used any sort of excuse other than like, I hate censorship, it would be very fucking suspicious, would it not? You think it would be similar to taking a sponsor for a game you like? You don't see an issue? That's kind of like where I'm wondering. You'd be consistent, but you're interfering with the rights of people on what they can or can't watch. I mean, yeah, like, it would be a censorship issue, but like, I couldn't think of anything off the top of my head besides like FUTA to use as an example. But we tangented. I wanted to look at these influencers. We're talking about these influencers here. We see you, a Battle Beagle. Post is unavailable. Ooh, somebody deleted their post. Eric Draw. The government wants to block soda purchases for Americans on Snap. Remember when NYC tried this and it completely backfired? President Trump proudly had a Diet Coke button in the Oval Office. This is ridiculous government overreach. Let people decide for themselves. Yeah, I don't know why Clown World would tweet about that. I mean, maybe this is an opinion that he previously held, so it's not that big of a deal, but like, I feel like that's not something that Clown World tweets about typically. You love financial audit, but you need a palate cleanser. Once in a while, you want to see someone vaguely fixable on the show. You can decide for yourselves without taxpayer money. Yeah, pretty much. It's in the comments, Kirsche? He deleted it, but here's a screenshot. Oh, perfect. Thank you. What's the next one? Government overreach strikes again. This time it's soda's turn. They want to restrict soda purchases through Snap this time. This is an unwarranted attempt by the government to dictate what Americans can or cannot consume, which is an overextension of government power and a violation of personal choice. Even President Trump likes to drink his Diet Coke on a daily basis. The government needs to stop over-regulating what Americans can or cannot do. When it comes to tax dollars, I feel like the government kind of should regulate that, right? Like that's the only time they can regulate that, right? You've lived for years without soda after spending all your childhood drinking them? They'll be fine! I think Trump could probably afford a few Diet Cokes without government aid. I don't know. He might need the government to pay for the Coke. See, I heard he's not very well off. And not exactly equal. I wonder if this is the same kind of messaging we're gonna see once people stop having the government pay for their fucking mortgages. I don't know who not Jerome Powell is as well. Ian Miles Chong, a new war on soda has begun, targeting purchases made through Snap. Don't believe it's the government's role to decide what people should or shouldn't eat. The last time the US government dove deep into dietary guidance, the whole world ended up with a questionable food pyramid. It also championed the COVID-19 vaccine as safe and effective. Promoting better health for Americans is a reasonable idea, but not when it involves curbing Diet Coke purchases. Restricting soda through SNAP is an unnecessary move by the government to control consumption, overstepping its authority and infringing on individual liberty. Doesn't he live in fucking Malaysia? Does it... Am I remembering the right guy? Doesn't he live in Malaysia? So, like, he doesn't even understand what SNAP is? So why is he saying, I don't believe it's the government's role to decide what people should or shouldn't eat, and this should say, comma, with the government's money? Like, what? Yes, he lives in Malaysia. In California, you can use EBT at basically every fast food joint. You don't think they should do that? Yeah, there are a lot of places that take EBT that I was surprised took it. It's like, I could understand living in another country and taking an interest in American politics, but like, this is a bit beyond taking an interest, because it's clear you don't know what you're talking about. Right? This is kind of strange. Government money is usually taxpayer money, to be fair. Well, yeah, that's what I meant, right? You have mixed feelings, not because you love soda, but because you worry that the government could use this to start dictating more. It's a precedent that concerns you. I got some news for you. As a Massachusetts resident, we had a soda tax, we had a candy tax, we had a sugar tax on top of both of those. So, as a taxpayer, if I am expected to pay additional taxes on sodas and candies and the sugar therein, yeah, I don't really care if the government says, hey, hold up, you can't buy certain things with taxpayers' money. It's just like, you're being given SNAP benefits because you cannot afford groceries, right? And if you cannot afford groceries, soda is not a necessary thing for you. SNAP should only pay for beans and deans. If the poor want luxuries, they can get a job. Well, that's what I was about to say. Like, some people be like, Kirsche, just because you are poor doesn't mean like you shouldn't be able to get things that are nice once in a while. And it's like, I can agree that like you shouldn't be restricted to just like rice and beans, as it were. You should be able to buy like lettuce and tomatoes and hamburger meat and just like, you know, things like that to actually feed yourself and your family. The fuck that? Steak is for taxpayers. What the fuck? You're fine with SNAP paying for fruit? Fruit is expensive? Yeah, like things like that. Soda isn't nice, it's poison. I mean, while I agree, yes, people will say that it is something that is enjoyable, right? And I mean, I enjoy a soda on occasion, even if I know that it's bad for my insides. Look at Maryland's current attempt to add a 2-cent per ounce tax, about a quarter per can on soda and sugar drinks. Seems like a way to siphon money out of aid benefits because it's basically an optional tax. Point is sensible, but people will barter around any restrictions, so you do not know if a restriction is worth the effort. I mean, yeah, there are also people who, like, will trade their food stamp money for, like, money dollars, right? There's I've seen that happen a bunch of times. And poison is great. I love vodka. Can't drink soda, gives you migraines. Alcohol is also poison. You would hope SNAP cards don't buy it. I don't think they can. They use soda to barter. It's the main thing. What? Does SNAP pay for alcohol? I don't think it does. I don't think it does. There's a lot of welfare fraud. There is a lot of welfare fraud. They can't buy alcohol, no. I've never had SNAP. I know my mom did, but like I was a child, so not like I would know the intricacies. SNAP doesn't allow for alcohol or tobacco. Okay, all right. They buy soda on SNAP and then sell it for money. That seems a little weird. You mean you can't get the government to pay for your bread, milk, beans, rice, bacon, steak, water, lobster, salmon, avocado, pineapple, watermelon, and they complain because of soda restriction? Oh my god. Can't use SNAP for gamer stuff? No, you can't use SNAP on gamer stuff. And so the quote retweet, we're still on this, the quote retweet from the SNAP thing that got deleted is this guy, Eric Doherty. Important, we cannot allow Make America Healthy Again messaging to be used to force needy Americans into not buying certain things. But that's already the case, though. There's already restrictions on SNAP. Some officials in DC are working on trying to prevent Americans on SNAP from using those benefits to purchase any soda. Remember when New York City Democrats tried to prevent people from buying and consuming soda? It backfired big time. President Trump literally has a Diet Coke button. He says the same thing as the other people. Let people think and decide for themselves. Anyone can consume soda and be perfectly fine in moderation. Unless we're just going to ban every food with sugar in it for SNAP Americans. I think instead of focusing on this, right, they should focus on how the welfare system works in general. How, like, if you get above a certain amount of money in your savings, you just instantly lose, like, your, what are they fucking, I mean, I guess it's just welfare. You lose your welfare benefits. And so it's an incentive to keep people poor, because if they don't spend their money immediately and they try saving it like a smart person, the government will penalize them for that. I don't know how you would balance this with making sure people who actually become well off aren't taking advantage of being on, like, benefits like that. Because we already have a fuck ton of fraud, right? We already have a fuck ton of fraud. So, like, I vaguely know how like, the system works, where, like, you get on, like, either, like, disability or welfare benefits, and then you make, like, a certain amount of money a month, and then if you start making above a certain threshold, you have, like, a very small buffer period, where, like, if you continue to make above, and it's a very low amount, right? It's, like, it's, I don't think it's even, like, $2,000, but I can't rightly remember, because this was, like, ages ago that I knew anything about this. But it's, like, a very low amount of money, and if you make above that for a certain amount of months, they're just like, okay, well, you don't get anything anymore. And then it's like, well, how are they supposed to... It's 1,206 the last you knew? Thank you. So that's even lower than I was, like, trying to estimate. It's called a welfare cliff. You lose all your benefits at once. Yeah, it just seems... It seems like it's designed to keep people on the welfare system and incentivize them to not get off. And especially if you start making money, to hide that money in any way possible, right? So, like, you start having it in cash payments instead of in checks or direct deposits, and you don't report it to the government. And it's like, I don't like that it feels like trying to farm people into a state of helplessness and reliance on the government. I think there's a lot of shit wrong with our welfare system. Honestly, we need to change the application process for SNAP. It's way too easy to get on at the moment, way too few checks to get on food benefits, and a lot of the process is trust-based, really easy to work around and get on via fraud. Weird. Your ex-wife about 4 decades ago was a cashier, had customers who bought steaks for their dogs with food stamps, the precursor to SNAP. Damn, dogs out here eating better than I was, man. It's designed to keep them reliant and subservient so they can't be independent. Yeah, and in theory, that would also make them certain voters, right? They would be incentivized to vote a certain way in order to keep their benefits or even increase them. Yeah, useful in this manner to the party pushing these benefits. Yeah, you said the same thing. You said the same thing. You're limited, yeah, and you want a lot under the table. It sucks because you can't get ahead. Yeah, and especially if you try doing that with, like, assets, like, you can't buy, like, a house. You can't buy certain cars because they'll be like, oh, you suddenly have too much money. And you saw a woman complaining about making $4K in food stamps. What the fuck was she complaining about? How do you even spend $4,000 in a month on food? How is that even possible? You're currently on food stamps because of your job firing you. Holy hell, the amount of info they need is insane. You're looking for jobs currently, so hopefully you'll be off of them soon. Yeah, and this is why, like, I think if you have a high trust society, if you have honest people, then when people run into dire life situations where they might need something, like the like welfare assistance or disability assistance or food stamp assistance, it can work out because those people get on it temporarily and then they want to get off of it. They want to take steps to, I don't want to use this anymore. I want to be able to support myself. But we don't seem to have that. And, like, again, using my mom as an example, when she was on, like, welfare benefits, she had welfare, she had food stamps, she had child support from my dad and my brother's dad, so she didn't need to do anything. She was making a fuck ton of money. Exactly, even older people in Social Security really get fucked over by Medicare. Yeah, most responsible folks are like that, but it's a very low percentage. Yeah, because a lot of people have the opinion of, like, well, everyone else is taking advantage of it, so why don't I? And I very much understand that point of view as well, because it's like, if all of these scum fucks are taking advantage and getting this kind of free ride, why should I have to pay? And I'm gonna be real with you, it's very hard to not fall into that kind of mindset, because it's like, if everyone else is getting this sort of free shit, why am I doing the right thing? Because that makes me the fucking sucker, doesn't it? SNAP should only allow for MRE, military ready to eat. All the food needs would be met. SSI isn't even enough for you to live on your own. If you pass the threshold, they'd kick you off your SSI. Therefore, you wouldn't be able to live on your own, earning or not. You wouldn't be able to live on your own because you wouldn't be able to make enough to not only pay rent, but they would kick you off food stamps so you couldn't buy food. They would kick you off your health care so you wouldn't be able to afford doctor shit. And you'd be like, I make too much money to get assistance, but I don't make enough money to live on my own, so what the fuck am I supposed to do? It was kind of like what I experienced on a much smaller scale when I was working, and I made too much money at my insurance job, which was barely over, like, minimum when I started. I made too much money to get on Obamacare, but I didn't make enough money to pay the, like, $600 something a month I would have had to pay for my health insurance because of my pre-existing conditions. So I was like, I literally can't afford health insurance, and now I have to pay the Obamacare fine for being uninsured. It was like a complete bullshit scenario that I couldn't do anything about. It could make you less likely to change your mind if you take money for opinions you already have, even if it's something you may not feel strong about. I mean, that's a very valid concern. Very valid concern. And it's like, I obviously don't know what the future would be like, but I would like to have enough faith in myself, like, regardless of you guys as my audience. I would like to have enough faith in myself that I could not be purchased to espouse an opinion that I don't have. The shady PR firm working for Big Soda put out an emergency halt notice to influencers last night after we called them out. They were hoping that would stop the bleeding. They were wrong. Several of us are working together on a thread right now. It'll all be exposed. And I think this is the correct thing to do, right? Like, if there is a PR firm just, like, mass spending money on influencers to push an organized message, and a lot of these influencers, like Ian Miles Chong, it wasn't their original opinion. This isn't something that they frequently talked about. Like, right, these are just people who are getting paid to be mouthpieces who either don't care or don't even hold the opinion, or in Ian Miles Chong's case, don't even live in the country. I think this stuff absolutely should be called out 100%, because these are people who are doing something dangerous by taking money to talk about something they don't care about. You understand you're under no legal obligation following the turning down of an offer you did not solicit, right? If soda companies and their PR flags are going around making such offers and people are being approached to sign a contract, this appears to be what's happening. Since you didn't sign anything and rejected the offer, you're not under any kind of NDA or other legally binding contract where you can't disclose who approached you or what their offer was. Apparently, they were just hoping nobody will talk. And this is what I'm saying, right? Like, why don't they just say who offered to pay them? Like, if they're not under a contract, and, like, I can sort of understand that if you get this sort of, like, weird fucking offer, sometimes you can't talk about who it was because it'll cause a lot of issues. Sometimes you can't talk about who it was because it would end up doing far more damage to you as a person, not even as a brand, than it would do anything to the people who offered you money, or offered you money to go around, like, FTC guidelines or anything. We need some names. Yeah, it may, but we need names. That's how you fix the problem. It can be a very scary kind of situation, because if you as a sole person speak out against a company that asked you to do something that you were uncomfortable doing or could potentially be illegal, and you're just a single person, most people are going to take the company's side, especially if the company has a good track record. If they're a well-liked company, most people are going to take the side of the company, and then you're just going to end up looking like a piece of shit. So I can understand why some people keep quiet. I don't think with the amount of, like, noise that's being made over people getting paid for these soda posts, that would really apply here. Alright? I don't think that would apply in this instance. This shit happens literally constantly. This is just the first time people noticed at a large scale. Sadly, if you rat one company out, then the other companies may not approach you because of confidentiality breach. I mean, that's also a possibility, right? If you stand up for principles and you say that I'm not going to take shitty behavior and I'm not going to kowtow to, like, a cancel culture kind of thing, there are going to be companies that are like, well, I can't work with you because you went against what the industry standard is. And that's just a really unfortunate thing. And then that also incentivizes you to not talk about those companies that said that they can't work with you because of your principled stance. Because if you talk about those companies who decided not to work with you for having a principled stance, then like even more companies won't want to work with you and you become even more blacklisted than you already were. And it becomes just a giant shit sandwich that you're not able to talk about and you feel very isolated.